What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We are so close now to the end of 2017, and what a crazy year it has been in the gaming industry. We've had our highs, we've had some pretty severe lows, but I want to focus on the positive because, as I say, we're close to Christmas, and I want to talk about my top 10 games that I have played this year. Now, I'm emphasizing the word played because I'm sure that there are so many other games that I've missed out on this year that were absolutely amazing. One I'm gonna say straight off the bat would be Horizon Zero Dawn. I actually only played a couple of hours of that game, so unfortunately it's not going to make the list. And before we get started on the list, I just want to say to you guys a massive thank you. This has been the first year that I have done YouTube full-time, and in my opinion, it has been a success, and I couldn't be happier with where we are going and what we have done this year. So thank you so much, and let's get to it! In at number 10, Sonic Mania. I'm a huge Sonic fan. Sonic is one of those games that I feel like everyone loves. Everyone has played it, and for me, it was one of the first games that I ever got the chance to play. My first console was the Master System, and Sonic was actually built into my Master System along with Alex the Kid because that was my brother's one. But along the way, I feel like Sonic has kind of lost his roots, and what I loved the most about Sonic Mania was that it brought it back to the Sonic that I know and love. And I hope that in future, that maybe future Sonics, not counting Sonic Forces of course, can maybe learn something from Sonic Mania, maybe realize that quite a lot of us would love it to go back to its original roots. I had so much fun playing Sonic Mania. Of course, it doesn't come without its criticisms. I felt like the levels were maybe a little bit too long for my opinion, and the final level was tough as nails. I never actually got past the final level, if you can believe that. So that is something that I need to do at some point. But as I say, I absolutely adored Sonic Mania, and that is number 10 on my list. Number 9 is a game on my list that I had no idea was being released until maybe 2 days before it came out. I saw it on the PlayStation Store and I fell in love with the art design first and foremost, and the name kind of got me as well. So number 9 is Last Day of June. It's a relatively short game, but the message behind it was super strong. As you guys know, I absolutely adore my little puzzler games. There was a lot of puzzles actually in that game that I totally struggled with, and because hardly anyone else was playing it, I do remember sitting there for a good wee while trying to figure out exactly what to do, but I got through it come the end. I just absolutely adore games that kind of take me on a journey. I'm all about this story. Don't get me wrong, gameplay is obviously very important, but for me personally, I love games that take me on a journey, and that's exactly what I got with The Last Day of June. No spoilers, but you will cry. Number 8 on my list is The Evil Within 2. Now, there's probably going to be people in the comment section surprised that The Evil Within 2 only made it to number 8. And the reason for that is, while I absolutely loved the journey with The Evil Within 2, I didn't see much reason to play it again. And that's kind of important to me. When you're spending a lot of money on a video game, I want to know that I can pick it up at any time. But I definitely felt that with The Evil Within, it pretty much closed all the doors in regards to the story, and while I was left satisfied with that, I definitely was feeling like, well, I'm probably never gonna play that again, even though I really enjoyed it. So that's the main reason why it's ending up as number 8 on my list, but don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the game and I would totally recommend it to you guys. Number 7 is, of course, Little Nightmares. Now, I'm a huge fan of games like Limbo and Inside, but there was just something a little bit more about Little Nightmares, and I also love the fact that I really had to fish for the story. And I guess games like Limbo and Inside were exactly the same. They were very deep and they left you with a lot of questions even towards the end of the game. The thing I loved the most about Little Nightmares was the art design. I love that they gave me a character that was slightly messed up looking, but yet somewhere in my heart I could manage to feel sorry for her. And of course you've got the DLCs as well, where you play as the male character, and I just felt that everything they did in regards to Little Nightmares was very interesting to me, and I absolutely just loved the story, as I say. So if you guys have not played Little Nightmares, you definitely need to check it out. I think it's actually on sale this month as well, so more reason. I think this is going to be the biggest surprise of the video, but number 6 on my list is actually Resident Evil 7. I don't know, it's not good enough to be up there as my top game of the year. And don't get me wrong, it's not just because it came out at the start of the year that I've forgotten how awesome it was. Of course, we get the DLCs next week, which I'm super excited to play. As I say, I loved the story. I love that they took the risk and made it first person. And I know that there was a lot in the Resident Evil community that they were kind of behind it, but they were a little bit worried, you know, would it ruin the franchise or anything like that. But I think it was a really great direction for Resident Evil to go, and I absolutely loved it. And also well deserved with all the awards for having it as the best VR game. I played the kitchen demo for Resident Evil 7, but I will never ever play that game in VR. Just far too spooky for me, far too spooky. Number 5 on the list isn't really a game that came out this year, but we had a reboot of it coming to the PS4 this year, and of course, it's one of my favorite Final Fantasies, Final Fantasy XII. Final Fantasy XII, for whatever reason, it seems to get lost under all the Final Fantasies like 7, 8, 10. But for me personally, it's got the best battle system. I absolutely adore the Gambit system. I can just spend hours and hours on that game. I think I'm 2 trophies away from having platinum on that game, and I racked up a good 200 hours just with grinding and having fun on that game. And of course, it did come out this summer. They gave us a lot of new things to do in the game, although there was a lot of people saying that that had already been released in Japan. But hey, we got it this year. I had an absolute blast going back through that game. Blast from the past. A good 8 hours taking out Yasmat. Totally worth it, by the way. And Final Fantasy is always going to have a special place in my heart. It is my favorite franchise, of course. Alright, we're getting into the top now! Number 4, gotta be Cuphead. I was so beyond excited that Cuphead finally came out this year, and oh my gosh, it was well worth the wait. I played a few stages at different conventions over the past 2 years, and I literally thought that this game was never gonna come out. But when we eventually got the release date for this year, and I cracked on with the game and I struggled, oh my gosh, the struggle was so real to get through that game. You guys have no idea. I think for me to put out one video that was around about 15 to 20 minutes for you guys was taking me a good 3 hours. Now, I'm not gonna go out there and say it's because I was bad at the game, because I wasn't. Okay, I wasn't. But some of the stages were just really tricky. But I gotta say, the games sometimes are a little bit too easy, and I love a challenge, and I love games that it's the same difficulty for everyone, especially on YouTube. That's very important, because you always get people that are like, oh, you must have played that on easy because blah 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 blah. There was none of that with Cuphead, because everyone was playing on the same standard difficulty, and it was just such a rush every single time I got to beat a boss. So yeah, definitely deserving of the top 10 for this year. These last 3 have been super hard for me to actually put in order, but number 3, which I was gonna have as my number 1, but I kind of changed it around a little bit, South Park, The Fractured Butthole. Now, I've only recently played the first South Park, but as a lot of you guys know, I am a huge South Park fan, but I hadn't actually caught up with a lot of the series leading up to The Fractured Butthole. So there was a few things that I was kind of like, that's really funny, but I don't know where that's come from, sort of thing. But now I've actually caught up with all the South Park episodes, so I know where everything has come from, and I totally understand why it is funny now, and it was funny then. The game is a masterpiece, and I hope that we get some more South Park. I'm very tempted to play Phone Destroyer, have it on my phone just now, and I'm trying to find a way to be able to record it for you guys, because I need more South Park in my life. But yeah, South Park, amazing game. If you're easily offended, maybe not for you, but for me, I loved it. Number 2 for me is one of the most underrated games of the year. I remember seeing this actually on the Japanese store, and that was when I first kind of got wind of it, but of course it is a Square Enix game, and I love pretty much all Square Enix games. Number 2 is NieR Automata. Now this game, it just deserves so many different awards, but for whatever reason, always comes second. Even with me, it's come second, but I absolutely adored that game. The story was fantastic. It's a solid RPG. Why have you not played it, guys? Why have you not played it? And if you have played it, yeah! Honestly, it'll make you laugh, cry, contemplate your existence. It gets a little bit weird at some points, but the entire series is on my channel. It's just such a fantastic game. It's pretty long as well, so you get everything that you want for your money. It's got DLCs, And there's actually some sweet NieR Automata merchandise on the store at the moment, and I've got my eye on the email necklace, so maybe Santa will be good for me? Who knows? Okay, so I want to know, while you've been watching this, if you've been typing your favorite games of this year into the comment section, and if maybe at one point you were thinking what my favorite game of this year might have been. But as soon as I tell you, you're gonna be like, yeah, totally obvious, I knew that. If you're new to my channel, then maybe you might not get it, but if you've been on my channel for a long time, then you're gonna know that number one had to be the Crash Bandicoot remake for this year. It had to be. It was like the best summer ever with Crash Bandicoot finally coming out. I mean, they teased it with us for so long, and then to finally get it, it was just pretty darn perfect, except for maybe the jumping was a little bit iffy. The fact that they gave us what we wanted, they kept the levels the same, the boxes were in the same place, the level design was the same, the polar bear was in HD. Everything about this game just touched me in my heart, and I will never forget the fact that as my job, I got to play Crash Bandicoot, and it was just, it's always gonna be memories and a surreal moment for me, and thank you. Thank you for giving us the Crash Bandicoot, and maybe next year we can get Spyro the Dragon. Duh. You know, there's so many people that want Spyro the Dragon. They gotta do it. They gotta do it. But anyway, guys, this has been my top 10 games that I have played in 2017. I'm desperate to know what your top games of 2017 have been. It doesn't have to be 10, it can just be one. Whatever game took your fancy the most this year, I want to know. Leave it in the comment section. And as for me, we're getting close to the end of 2017, but oh boy, there is so many more games coming out in 2018 that I'm super excited to cover. Final Fantasy VII potentially might be one of those, but we'll just have to wait and see. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.